In September of 2019, I was super jealous. Tesla just released its Smart Summon feature, and our Model S was too old to get the update. For weeks, we saw videos all over YouTube of some summon successes and some epic fails, which caused the media to pile on and say that irresponsible Tesla owners were causing chaos in parking lots across the country. Some people were being irresponsible for sure, and everybody knows that fails get clicks and the media likes to pile on. But what's the feature really like, and where is it now? Since that initial excitement died down, I've seen a handful of social media posts of people saying they used it in the cold or rain and it worked just fine for them. So when we traded our Model S in last month for a Model Y, I was really excited to try this feature out. And so this video is going to be my first impressions, but also to set a benchmark, because apparently we're going to be getting a big software update probably in May now. And with all the FSD beta program going on and improvements we're seeing there, we'll see if this Smart Summon feature improves as well. So enough of my talking, let's get out into the parking lot and check this feature out. All right, we've got everything else set up. All the other cameras are out and around the parking lot, and we're going to try Smart Summon in a pretty wide open parking lot. Okay, it's saying I'm too far out of range and I should move closer. So I'm going to summon it to the edge of the circle and then summon it from there. So let's see if this works. Nope, it's not letting me do this. So we'll move a little closer and see if that works. All right, we are now right inside the circle. So I will move the target right over me and press and hold to start and say go to target. And here we roll. And we're backing up. Get on this side of the camera. It's interesting, it's driving through the parking lot spots here. Obviously there's no one in them, but wonder if it's seeing the shadow of that light pole. I don't know if it was thinking there or if I stopped it. It seemed to think something was there with the light and was trying to figure that out. So here it's coming pretty well. Kind of noodling a little bit and then waiting for pedestrian. I am the pedestrian, it sees. So that kind of worked, but let's reset and try again in another location. All right, so that test didn't work great. It's kind of stopped in the middle when it hit the shadow of that street light. We're going to see if we can bring it back this way and see what that looks like. Hopefully it'll be a winner. Pressing Smart Summon and just zoom out a little bit so I can see. Yeah, it's got, seems to know where I am. It looks like it's going to go around those other vehicles. Boy, it really looked like it was going to hit that light post from here. It was pretty dicey. It almost seems like it does better when it has other vehicles to read and not just the lines. The lines are pretty faint here, but it did a really nice job of going around those parked vehicles. I would say this is a much better job this time, so very, very impressed with that. That was good. All right, let's try to find another place and see how it goes. This is going to be take 3 in the same parking lot. The first time was kind of a bust and then moved, and the second time was pretty confident, and I thought it went really well. Now, before I started filming, I have tried this 2 other places. One small park where it just didn't do real great, and then at a store that had almost no cars in the parking lot. So as I was leaving there, I walked to another part of the lot and tried summoning, and there again, the second time, it worked really well, but this was on 2 different days. I'm trying to do this all in one area and then try some different parking lots so that we can get a feel for how this is working, is it advancing, how it is now to compare with future software updates when more of the FSD features start rolling out. So let's give it attempt 3. I'm doing my best to watch out for other vehicles. I'm not too far from the entrance here, so I want to make sure I'm not having any situation where a vehicle is coming in and could hit it, or I would be in the way of traffic. So in learning to fly a drone, a big part of that is, I don't think anything saw that. Really did a nice job on that turn there and came right to me. So that was really confident. I thought that was really good. Unfortunately, I didn't have any cameras pointed at the really nice turn it did over there because everything's focused back further into the parking lot. But very happy with how that one went. Seemed to know right where it was. Let's try another spot. All right, this is attempt 4, and we are kind of around a little corner of some landscaping here. There's curbs. I've got the other cameras set up. Let's see if take 4 will work. I may be aborting this because I don't like how zoomed out it has me. And I'm not sure it's going to know what to do, but we're going to do our best. And I will keep a very close eye on it. All right, that's good. It seems to know it needs to back up. Looks like it's trying to get the lay of the land around that corner and curb. It's put on the signal, so that's good. And now seems pretty confident going in there, but then stopped. Come on, figure it out. Let's see if it'll come around the corner. Okay, the target spot was not on me. Okay, I think, well, it went to the spot it thought it needed to, and so I'll show you right here. It didn't come around the corner, and that is the original spot it was going to. So it didn't make this corner into me, but it's a very close walk, and essentially it came to me, just not at the doorstep. So kind of a 50-50, not super confident, but also a weird situation in this lot. I think we'll do one more relatively normal experience here and then move to another parking lot. This is attempt number 5. This should be pretty straightforward, but there may be cross traffic coming in that entrance. I'm not feeling super good about that, but I think it should be able to handle it. Pressing and holding. There we are. That was a little strange. Alright, hopefully no one's going to be coming in that entrance as we're crossing it, but And waiting for pedestrian again, which is me. So that was pretty flawless. Very simple. Came right to me. Did cross some of the open spaces, but they're open spaces, so it wasn't going to hit anything. So I will say that is a good attempt. Let's hit another parking lot and see how that does. All right, we are in a new parking lot. I think this is attempt number 6. So let's get the app out and see. Met another guy playing with his child, and they've got a blue Model Y as well. Had it since August and seem to be really enjoying it. So first attempt here, we're just going to come right toward the camera, assuming this, yeah, all right, go to target. And we're backing up. It's coming right for us. Get over here so it doesn't see stopping for pedestrian. And it's pulling up and looks like it's happy there. Summon complete. One interesting thing is it doesn't seem to have a, when you're in the summon screen, it doesn't seem to have a go back to the rest of the app button unless I'm missing something. So I have to close the app and reopen it to get back to the regular home screen. But I would say that was pretty confident and pretty good. So I'm going to reposition and try again. All right, we've crossed the parking lot. Hopefully it's just going to come around. But again, we are near an entrance to the parking lot, so I want to be pretty careful about how we're doing this. The screen is really zoomed out, the map is. And so I can hit go to target, but it's not super confidence instilling when, here we go. Okay, I tapped it once and then it zoomed in. And almost needs to reset for another few seconds here. Okay, now preparing to summon. Yeah, just was not having it for a few seconds there, where it just didn't want to grab. Okay, looks like it's checking to see where it should go and where traffic is. Must be reading the lines because it's coming in the lane really nicely. So it took a little while to initialize, but then once it did a really nice job. Kind of seemed to look both ways at the intersection a little bit and come down the aisle really nicely. So I'll say that's a win. All right, I'm kind of in the dark here, but this should be a pretty straightforward summon. I think this is attempt 8. There we go. Straighten out. Come on. Oh. Interesting. So it stopped there. Which again isn't super close to me, but it's not terrible. In the rain you'd still get kind of wet. Don't think my phone has a good signal of where I am. So I'm going to try this again and go to target and see if it'll make this turn. Much better. It may have made a further turn, but The dot for where I am GPS wise for my phone says I'm over there, so it kind of makes sense why it was veering that way earlier. But then when I reset, I put the target on where I actually am rather than my GPS signal, and that obviously got it quite a bit closer. So I feel like this interface could use some sprucing up, and maybe it will be when the feature's a little more finished, that they'll put a little more effort into the UI for the user. Right now it's kind of in party trick mode, but if it was pouring rain and the parking lot wasn't too crowded, I could see using it for that case. Those were my first tries, but I wanted more variety and another set of eyes. So a few weeks later, I drove to the north side of the metro and met my friend Todd. Now, because this is Minnesota in the spring, it was warm in those early shots, and now we cut to cold and windy. All right, I am here with Todd. He's over there starting the next camera, and he's helping me out. We're going to do a little more summon testing here. So I've got the car across the way there, connecting, smart summon, and it seems to have located me pretty well. And so go to target, here we go. Now, one of the interesting things about this lot is the arrows on the line, and seeing if it understands that it needs to follow those, or if it's just going to cut sideways across the whole lot. Obviously there are no other cars, but it seems to be following the line, the arrows for the most part. It's going to cut that a little close. Come on, come on, and right up to the crosswalk. And where are you going? Before it got too far away, I wanted to make sure I stopped it, but that was pretty good. It came right up to me. It just seemed like it kind of wanted to keep going, so that was a good test. Let's try another one. All right, so I got some sick Conan O'Brien hair cooking right now. We're in a different section of the parking lot. This is where the buses drop off. And so I want to see how it handles this area. We're also, as you can see, pulled up right next to a post. So I'm really counting on this not driving straight into that pole. All right, looks like it's gonna back up. And it's really responding well. I don't know if that's good car signal or if it's good, interesting. It cut through. It didn't hit the pole though, so that's good. And now it's going straight. Wow, that is a strange route. I'm gonna turn. Todd's following it here. I'm gonna turn so you can see that. That's coming. This is definitely not what I expected. It's fine, the parking lot's empty, and that's why we're testing it this way. But it came through the lot, didn't hit any poles, and came right to me. So I think the seagulls and I agree that was a pretty good take. All right, we're in a busier area, so I'm not gonna bring the big camera out, but we're gonna give this a try, pulling out of those cars, navigating around this island, and coming to pick me up over here. And Studio Brian here for the play-by-play. Backs out really well, a little cautious, but leaves plenty of space, and then speeds up when it gets in the lane. What we can't see is another car is coming into this lane of parking spots and looking for a spot, wondering what this blue car is going to do. It eventually chose a spot further away from the store to stop in. And then as the car's coming up to this intersection, it's moving and then stops because it sees a car in the crossway. So that was really good. Did that perfectly natural. Now, I don't know if I got flustered and took my hand off the button when I saw that car or if it stopped on its own, but had to restart summon here, and it picked back up, did a pretty good job, signals on, got in the lane, but got in the center of the lane, which wasn't great. And there was a car coming by. You'll see here this SUV. And so it kind of had to jog back to the right. And you can see as it's pulling up to me, it does settle on the right side of the road, but it started off in the center, and that wasn't great. But pretty good. It worked around traffic and didn't hit anybody. Okay, now we are in a parking ramp. We're at the top, so we have some decent light. But the car is parked on a lower level, and hopefully it will back out, come around this corner, and right up to the elevator door. It seems like it knows what it's going to do. A little bit of a strange fishtail backwards there. How close is it going to cut that? Oh! That is, it did the corner well, and here it's coming. Here it is. It did that pretty well once it got going. It did cut that corner a little bit through the parking spot, but as we've seen in other places, it cut through the parking spot, but there wasn't anybody there. So presumably it would not do that if a vehicle was there. And although it was a little close from my taste for over here, it did go around the pillar pretty well. So let's pack it up and get back in the car. This is a church parking lot with super faded lines, but we're gonna give it a shot and see how it goes. All right, we are right next to the curb there. Hopefully I don't get curb rash. And it doesn't seem like it quite knows where I am. Maybe I spoke too soon. Okay, it says we're close enough. So in conclusion, I guess at this point, someone's kind of a mixed bag. It's pretty confident in some situations and seems pretty lost in others. And the pinpoint from the phone where it thinks you are compared to where the phone thinks you are doesn't always seem to hit the mark. Now, it may be easier in a more traditional store setting where the entrance is really obvious, but when you step back and think about how crazy this technology is, this is a great first step, and I'm really looking forward to see how it advances as the next software updates roll out. Those were my first impressions in the field, and then Todd and I sat down and talked through what he was seeing as an observer. And before we get to that, I want to mention two things. The first is the camera autofocus missed us and was focused on the trees in the background, so the beginning part of this section is going to be a little out of focus. I apologize for that, and then it will clear up toward the end. The second thing is I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Todd for joining me on this pretty miserable day to haul cameras around and be a second set of eyes for me. It was greatly appreciated and saved me from doing a lot more of this. But now let's hear from Todd on his impressions, and then we'll wrap up. We just spent a couple hours playing around with Smart Summon. What are your impressions?
Overall, I think it's a good first attempt. I mean, it's not polished by any means. Because it's still, like you say on the videos, there's a couple key moments. Anytime, like in the busy Target parking lot, I would not do it, would not use it. Mm-hmm. Just because it freaks out too easily on certain things, and it wouldn't necessarily know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. It would definitely be one, and then not to mention you don't know what the public reaction to it too.
Right.
Because it could potentially, you've seen plenty of those videos where they react and they chase after the vehicle, thinking that, it's running away, and the reality is, no, it's not.
As far as when we were around other vehicles, was it giving enough space, or were there moments where you were like, it's going to scratch that car or hit that car? Or...
I mean, it had there was a couple of moments where it was actually mainly when you reacted, where it was definitely, you could see it far away. Like, it was getting close, but it was getting close enough where it's like at least 2 or 3 feet away from everything. It wasn't,
Okay.
as soon as it sensed it, it was like, okay, you can see it thinking, it'll just stop and then adjust the wheel a little bit, and then it will continue. And if need be, it would actually back up a little bit more and then proceed.
Yeah. When that new software drops, where would you like to see the biggest improvement?
I think personally the biggest improvement could be possibly based on GPS, make it a little bit sharp, a little bit know where it is better and know where you are better in relationship in the parking lot, and know even if there isn't markers, okay, I need to stay on the right hand side of this lot here, versus going, oh, you're right straight across, even though the parking lot may be open, it will head towards that direction instead of, okay, I need to back up here, follow the road around to where you are, and that would definitely make it more better.
Yeah, being able to read the layout of the parking lot better. When it was around cars, it seemed to be pretty aware that, if cars are parked, that's where the lane line is, or it knew that was the tunnel it had to go through. But without cars, it has a hard time grasping where the lines are. And I know that last parking lot, you could barely see the road.
Yeah,
or the
lines
lines.
weren't good at all.
I still would have liked to see it pick up the hints a little better.
Yeah, I think that personally that you'd use the summon more for, let's say if you park in a parking slot and 2 cars parked a little bit too close to you where you can't get in the vehicle, where you'd summon it out so they can get in the vehicle and then go on your way. Or if you have let's say you have a small garage and your car barely fits, you summon your car in and out of the parking spot. I would see you using that feature more often than summon it to where you're on the side of the street, on the side of the curb.
So, and that summon, that's the standard summon. Is that built into the cars without FSD, or did they take that out?
That it's on mine. Mine has an enhanced self-driving, which has some of the features that the full FSD has.
Okay.
But it's not getting any of the future updates, like the traffic lights and stuff like that.
So another thing you mentioned was the length of time it takes.
Yeah, it definitely takes a long time, especially if it's a busy parking lot. You could potentially walk to your car quicker than waiting there holding the phone. He'll wait for it to summon to where you are on the side of the street, on the side of the curb. Yeah,
and it would be interesting. And maybe with this next software update we'll do this, is set up all the cameras, because in these situations we kind of set the cameras quickly, then summoned it. That whole process takes quite a bit of time. But it would be interesting to have the cameras preset, and then both of us walk to the point of where we're going to summon it from.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as if you're coming out of a store, and then I do the summon thing, and you start walking,
and see what
happens first.
Yeah.
And of course, you'll run in front of the car and block it and make it not work. But no, but it would be interesting to see. At this point, is it really saving you out any time? Or with the next update, is it saving you any time? Or is it just potentially keeping you out of the rain, which there's value to that too. So.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, I think that's where we're going to leave it today. My overall impressions for all the attempts, if I gave them a number score, I would say the average comes out to be a 7 out of 10. And it'll be exciting to see when new software updates come out, if that moves into the 9s or 9.9 out of 10, and see how we're feeling about it then. But overall, it's a good feature, needs some work. But thank you for watching. Have a great day. And if you've enjoyed this, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. If you didn't, thanks for sitting through it anyway. And my next video will be our first family road trip in the Model Y. Look for that coming out next week, and I'll see you then. Have a great day.